True Panda Pour Art. I'm very excited to be doing another video series for you. In this series, we'll go over acrylic art pouring for beginners. There'll be what you need to get started, how to mix the paints for pouring, various pour styles and techniques, and then how to store them once they're completely dried. Welcome back to our beginner series for pouring art. In this video, we're going to review mixing the paints. For pouring art with acrylic paints, we want to mix them and dilute them down so they actually have a pouring consistency, so they spread over the canvas or whatever your pouring surface is going to be. You can mix in a specific pouring medium made by a known brand, or you can do a pouring additive, a mixing paint additive, which I use Flood Floetrol. You can also use water, and you can also use Elmer's glue. I have seen other artists use that as well. And again, you do want to make sure that you're diluting the paints a little bit, at least with a little bit of water, to thin them out a little bit more. So we are going to mix up some red, yellow, and blue. And I am also going to mix up some white. Normally, if you're using a specific pouring medium, you don't need to worry about trying to strain it. Once you shake it up a little bit, sometimes there will be clumps in it that you want to try to get out before you mix in the paints. Since I like using the Flood Floetrol pouring additive, I like to strain it a few times with just a kitchen strainer. Very basic. I actually got this one from the dollar store, but you could buy packs online to get various sizes. I'm going to shake this up. And here we go. Just start straining. So this is why I wanted to strain it. I don't want this clump to mix in with the paints. So I'll just take that out right now and put that up instead. And if you want to, personal preference, you can always keep straining it a few more times. But for me, I'm comfortable with the amount of clumps that I saw, so I don't feel the need to strain it again. So from here, we can go ahead and pour our pouring medium into our mixing cups. And then we can mix in our acrylic paints. And I'm pouring more into the fourth cup for our white. Since that's going to be our base layer, I know I want more of that color. Now I'm going to spread the rest of the paint out. Don't want to put too much pouring medium into this one cup since I do want enough space for some paint. Shake them up. Typically the paint to a pouring medium ratio is about 2:1, but it can vary. So you'd want roughly 2 parts pouring medium, 1 part paint. However, I've also seen 70-30 mix, I've seen 60-40 mix. It's a personal preference. It also depends on the type of acrylic paints that you get. Every brand is slightly different. Also, each color is slightly different in their thickness. And also each pouring medium has a different thickness. It's going to depend. I go based on feel. So long as all of the paints at the end have the same thickness, then they should pour and spread evenly the same across the canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and put some in here. Add some color. Can always add more paint later. So let's start mixing and see what we come up with. As a note, as you are mixing the cup, as you can see, I used clear cup for a reason. You can see that it's not quite mixing on the sides. So with your stir stick, go ahead and try as best you can to scrape everything off those sides, mix it in there, get it off the edges of that stir stick, put it in with the paint, and mix, 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 mix. And don't forget the bottom, if you can see, because there's still some white in here. This is why cups without these bumps and ridges are sometimes easier to stir with, but personal preference. Stir, stir, stir. So right now the yellow actually feels a little bit thicker than the blue. So right off the bat, I'll go ahead and add a little bit more blue paint to thicken it up. And also that blue is not the same color, so it might slowly add in a little bit more blue paint to not only increase the thickness of the paint to match the yellow, but also to match the color, to get it a little bit more blue. Don't forget those edges and the bottoms and the stir stick. And this red paint is not as thick as the other two colors, so I already know I'm going to be adding in more of that acrylic paint than the other ones. This cup's ratio of acrylic paint to pouring medium might actually end up being more 50-50. Like I said, I go off of feel just because each paint is a little bit different. And so long as in the end all of the colors are about the same consistency, it should work out on the canvas. That yellow is still pretty thick. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of the pouring medium to it. And voila! Now that all of our paints are mixed, we can go ahead and prep our painting surface and get to painting. Be sure to check out this next video on the different pouring techniques that you can use.